Hi everyone, this is Aaron for Zollotech, and we're going to talk about Apple's new Lightning connector or Lightning adapter. This is their newest replacement for the original connector, which we have right here. It's much smaller. You can see it's about 20% the size of the original, and it's now reversible, so it can plug in each way, and I'll show you a little bit more of that in a moment. But was it really worth the change from this to this? Well, one thing's for sure, with the new iPhone, I don't know that you'd be able to fit this in this space. It's almost as wide as the iPhone itself. You can see here. And one of the questions is, really, do we need an iPhone this thin? Or could we have lived with one as thick as the iPhone 4 and 4S? Personally, I don't mind a fairly thicker phone. I think it feels more secure in your hand. But Apple disagrees and created the iPhone 5. And this is a very solid phone, don't get me wrong, but is it really necessary to make a new adapter? Well, in a lot of ways, I would have to say yes, and in a lot of ways, no. Obviously, you're going to have all of those docks, the different iHome docks I've reviewed, you can no longer use with the dock adapter, at least without another adapter that adapts from this to this. So that's obviously going to be a big problem for a lot of people that have maybe some expensive Bose or Bowers & Wilkins docks. But for others, that doesn't really matter if you don't have a lot of docks. Myself, I have docks in my car, so that's going to be a little bit of a pain, but not too much of a problem since I still have Bluetooth and I can use that wirelessly. One of the advantages of the cable, like I said, is that it will actually go in both ways. So we can go in this way, it snaps into place, flip it around, it snaps into place. It's now got 8 pins or 8 connectors on it, and they're all digital as opposed to the 30 pin of the old connector. The old connector worked fine for 9 years in fact, and I've used it from the first iteration of iPhone all the way up to this version, well, up till iPhone 4S and then 5 where they no longer have it. So the adapter itself worked fine. Had a lot of different pins, and not only for power, they had USB power, they also had FireWire power, and they've kind of changed the pin out over time. After the iPhone 1, they no longer allowed charging through the FireWire connectors that are in here. So anyone that had previous adapters then couldn't use it with the new one. So I had a car dock in my car for the iPhone 1 or 2G, depending on what you want to call it. When I got the iPhone 3G, it no longer charged in that dock. So I had to get a new connector for the same thing. So Apple has actually changed it along the way. They just haven't changed the form factor. Now they deleted the FireWire and they've deleted a lot of things. So now we obviously have a couple connections for the charging, and then the rest is digital, so that can be converted to anything else, data or whatever you want. Now, one of the things they didn't do that was pretty disappointing is this is USB, but it's USB 2.0. It's not USB 3.0. It's not Thunderbolt. Maybe they'll do that in the future, but you really don't get any speed advantages with the cable. You only get a size advantage for the most part. Now, we have to buy all new cables at about $20 each, unless you buy them on eBay, off-brand, but about $20 each. It's not a MagSafe connector, and here, let me show you up close. It's not a MagSafe adapter. You can see right there what happens is those clip right into the connector inside. So those sides right here get snapped into and hold it pretty securely. You can hold the phone by the adapter itself. It's not going to fall out. It's just as secure as the old adapter and feels really strong. Now, one of the things that a lot of people complained about is, why didn't they just make it micro USB? Well, personally, I'm not a big fan of micro USB just because I've broken the adapter, and I tend to be really careful with my phones. My 4S has no problems whatsoever, just a couple scuffs on the metal here from placing it into a dock and missing a little bit. Other than that, it has zero issues. It's perfect. And I'm pretty careful overall. I had an HTC Surround Windows Phone 7, if you remember that review, if you've been with me for that long. And that phone actually had the connector break inside. It no longer allowed me to charge or sync or anything else. Luckily, AT&T replaced that phone for me, and I was able to continue using it. But ever since then, I've been a little weary of USB, the micro USB anyway, as far as strength. This feels so solid that I don't really know that I'll have that issue. Only time will tell, of course. However, for European standards, they do make an adapter from this to a micro USB. So you can still use it, but you do have to add this little bit to the end. So overall, is it worth it? Only time will tell. You do have to buy more cables. You'll have to buy new accessories. Probably mostly wirelessly or through AirPlay would be the best bet. Bose has recently released an AirPlay dock as well, or really a AirPlay speaker rather, with no dock connector. And that's probably your best bet if you're going to be buying anything like that in the future. Now, I like the thinness of the phone. I'd rather have a bigger battery myself, but that's just my take. The dock connector really didn't matter that much to me, and it seemed to work fine for what it was. But it was time to move on, and hopefully this is here for the next 10 years or more. So let me know what you think in the comments below. You know, there's a $40 cable that actually breaks out from this to a female plug for the original 30-pin connector as well. That's $40. Their other adapter is $30. Apple really should have included one in the box, but they didn't, and I just thought I'd talk to you about that, see what you think about it, and let me know in the comments below what you think about them switching the dock connectors. If you haven't subscribed to this channel, please go ahead and subscribe. As always, thanks for watching. This is Aaron. I'll see you next time.